Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Career Talks. With nearly 12 years of enriching experience in corporate communications, in project management as a dynamic marketeer, her association has been with the leading names in the market from various sectors. Names like Shan Foods, NGOs like Idara Talimo Agahi, US aid programs, different IT and development sector projects, paving her way into also telecom and fintech sector with names like Easy Pesa. And today, being the head of marketing, growth, and communications of Pakistan's leading ride-hailing platform, while playing her pivotal role shaping this company's brand strategy and public image, introducing marketing strategies that resonates with a diverse audience, leveraging her expertise in digital marketing, brand management, and communications. Her career trajectory reflects her deep-rooted commitment towards innovation and growth strategy. She has also given her insights into emerging trends in marketing, such as hyper-personalization, the rise of the creator economy, and also the integration of mixed reality in marketing, all of which underscores her forward-thinking approach towards this industry in particular. With a track record that paves into success and her passion for introducing impactful marketing strategies, she has become the leading voice in Pakistan's marketing landscape and ecosystem. And we are honored to have her in the studio to address the curiosity as to how a Pakistan's leading brand commits itself towards offering competitive services and ventures into a four-wheeler impact. Please welcome presenting the head of marketing, growth, and communication of none other than Bykea, Ms. Saba Mushtaq. Assalamu alaikum, Saba.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much, Adeela. This was a grand introduction.
I hope you liked it.
I loved it, actually. I'm going to use it the next time I introduce myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You deserved it. Saba, our today's topic primarily is going to be addressing primarily to an audience that will have marketing enthusiasts, so the Denning Business School will be having all ears when they're listening to you. But since it's going to be on a public platform, the reach is going to include a lot of young professionals as well. Our primary agenda today, through this discourse, is going to be tapping into what we know as the cognitive capitalism, where the attention economy plays a huge role. And this attention economy has to be tapped in very smartly with certain very adaptive marketing strategies. Now, speaking a little about, since we are addressing to a lot of students out there, how did your entire career, or going back into your academics year, shaped you in understanding yourself as a marketeer? So if you could just go back in the days and take us through your journey through a quick snippet.
Sure. I think one of the primary influencer in my life is my academics. I hold a master's degree in business administration with a specialization in advertising and media management. And I also have a master's degree in public administration. And both of these disciplines have given me, the strength to understand different kind of audiences, and not just understand, taking the insights from those audiences in building,
Right.
interactions out of them.
Right.
And then also how these audiences react in their general lives. So the community part of of the society uh, is also taken up from my academic history. I think I'm going to pause here, and I'll just rephrase it a little bit. Um, should I just continue?
Yeah, continue,
Okay.
continue.
So one of the primary influences is, of course, my academics. I hold a master's degree in business administration with its specialization in advertising and media management. And I also hold a master's degree in public administration,
Right.
which gives me, which gave me the um, the the highlights in how communities, develop and they perform
Right.
and they exist in the society.
Right.
And both of these disciplines kind of helped me shape my interest
Right.
in marketing and to some extent in social development.
Right.
And that's exactly what I've been doing all my 14 years of professional life.
Great.
Um, and from there, I kind of built on um, taking up professional responsibilities that gave me the opportunities to be part of the forefront of communications.
Okay.
So my first job with Sean Foods, that was for corporate communications. And I built that muscle from there to my current job and moved into a full-fledged kind of marketing individual now over the years, only because of my constant exploration of understanding audiences. I think that's
Right.
my biggest muscle that I can, pull and show.
And you identified that you had those traits at a very young age during your academic years also?
So I've had an interest in understanding numbers.
Okay.
That was one of my biggest
Really?
interest.
Oh, that's very
Um,
interesting.
And I call myself um, a math lover.
Oh,
I've been
okay,
like
great.
that over the years from childhood,
That's
literally.
very contrasting when it comes to marketeers
I
particularly.
know. And that's actually, I'm sure it'll be news for a lot of
certainly.
my colleagues
Yes,
also.
yes.
But it had been one of my interests. And how it has shaped my journey, it's tremendous because marketing in silos is all brand and all glamour and all, planning what people can see.
Yes.
But behind the curtains, it's also what this translates into business terms. So, what money at the end of the day it brings back to the business is also important.
Very important, yes.
And that's how actually I feel my interest in marketing and my interest in understanding numbers kind of overlap in my current position.
That's excellent.
So
I
that,
think it's
that
very
interest.
important. Yeah, it's very important for the audience and a lot of marketeers to understand that marketing is one of the most rooted functions that amplifies or shapes the brand reality or the brand image of any brand out there,
True.
right? Be it a service or be it a product. And you're talking from a very rooted level of business mechanics. And that is why for a lot of students who come to me and I tell them that if the undergraduation was done in the areas where you specialize primarily in marketing, then for postgrad think of finance, right? Because the blend of the two becomes very powerful.
Or maybe
It's-
not specifically
It's
finance.
not specifically finance, but
data management.
database, yes,
Data
data
engineering
sciences,
is a
yes.
very trending
yes,
term these
certainly,
days.
yes.
And I feel it is absolutely needed. With the times changing, a lot of the AI support will provide for the marketing
Yes.
conventional ways
Yes,
of
yes.
interventions. The conventional marketing would be run on AI.
Yes.
The rest of it would be how you understand audiences, how you can take out insights from the data and use it in your leverage. to, be unique and different, and to then, catch up on the little attention spans that we get
yes,
for
certainly.
brands.
So, yeah.
So data engineering is
Data
one of the
engineering,
things.
and this is what confuses a lot of students out there who look at finance in terms of just mathematics.
Absolutely.
It is
It's
way,
not.
it is way, par at
Yeah.
par from maths. Understanding how numbers actually do the analytics.
Yes.
That is where
The magic happens, honestly.
when, for a
Yeah.
marketeer. You have been instrumental in shaping the brand when it comes to Bykea in itself and making it like a homegrown, very powerful household name. Um, During the course of coming up with different growth strategies, what particular values do you lean on in helping Bykea be having that distinction and differentiate it from the leading international or local competitors?
First of all, I would not take all of this credit. There have been so many players in the
certainly.
team. Of course, the founding members that we have, they have been instrumental in the entire strategizing part of business and giving us the right kind of confidence and direction to steer in that direction. But what really differentiates Bykea from international or national players is our ability to persevere and the business's ability to push through challenges. There were times when, especially COVID was one of the biggest challenges that the business has gone through. And at that time, Bykea was only bike ride hailing and bike deliveries. And during COVID, we had some interventions with the government, considering that the only service which was allowed for ration distribution was for bike. Was bike. And that's how we kind of pushed through that phase. But what really mattered was our realization and learning that diversification is needed. So from there, from the COVID years till today, one of the things that we do is experimentation in business. We experimented with payments, we experimented with groceries, we experimented with e-commerce. We are still experimented with some new lines of business that are there. But the appetite to explore and diversify in services is something that was so unique to Bykea. And why we were able to do that over the years was because that we are 100% homegrown. So we had that leverage to use our local talent. We had the leverage to understand what is the need of the hour right now, today, and immediately come up with some offer, some solution, some service that we feel has potential.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's. I'm gonna shorten my answer a little bit and summarize some of the values.
Yes.
So perseverance, the ability to diversify and experiment, and the potential of just understanding that some days would be bad days. Some experiments would be just learnings, and letting that failures be learnings and not hold you to not move to the other ones.
Right. That's very interesting to understand. And diversification also makes me dive a little deeper into understanding that whether the homegrown brands are more scared of competition so that they eventually wish to do everything at some point. And I've seen that. If you see the trends of a lot of local legends, even in textile, you will understand that now at this point, they have numerous product lines. And they wish to, I don't know whether it comes as a paranoia that maybe we are going to be falling short of something,
Mm.
to do anything and everything, because we can possibly. The fact that Bykea transitioned from being a two-wheeler, now venturing into four-wheeler, I would like to know, was this paranoia coming in play? What actually prompted this strategic shift? And what marketing strategies are now going to be introduced with this new categorization, new segment?
But that's a very good question. And if I could be honest, it is to some extent the paranoia.
Yeah.
Because the industry that Bykea had been operating in before we launched the four-wheelers, it has one of the limitations, although it's a huge market and we have been leaders in that, we are still leaders in that particular core business. That business has made us profitable quite recently, and this phenomena of a ride-hailing business being profitable is first in the entire world. We announced our profitability in 2023 December,
Right.
and before that, no other ride-hailing company has ever been profitable, actually on paper.
Wow.
But the fact that the bike industry has on a transaction level is a small ticketed transaction, and businesses can only get a certain revenue that the market can offer. On the other hand, the four-wheeler category, considering that it has a bigger ticket for every transaction, offers more.
Yeah, of course,
right?
Yes.
And no business would want to leave that opportunity of getting into getting into the line where you have more money opportunity.
Yes.
So yes, you are right. It's a mix of paranoia and a wish of making more money through the business, which I think is a right, fair way to do business.
I mean, very rightfully said that, you said money, moving into money opportunities, big scaling opportunities. Speaking of scaling opportunities and now stepping into a very fast moving segment, how has the pricing competitiveness shifted? How are you looking at it? What are the strategies?
I believe that's in our market, in Pakistani market, this has been one of the biggest influence in keeping the customers, in retaining the customers. So your retention plan is actually just managing your pricing better compared to your the competition. And fortunately or unfortunately, ride-hailing, online ride-hailing, is very, very competitive. We, as an organization, decided to ensure that in the four-wheeler category, considering that there are international players in this market and they have the right kind of money to, invest on marketing, we would not get into the fight of brand building or awareness building or incentivizing the customers too much.
Okay.
We thought that we are going to be away from all of that for some time.
Right.
There will be,
Friction.
pilots and test out.
Yes.
But our biggest plan is to stick with a stable pricing. So the customer do not feel low confidence when they come back to the platform. They have the predictable pricing in mind that generally this is the cost that I get for my route. And we are going to try and maintain that. And in most cases, it is very, very competitive compared to our competition. It means that we offer lower prices.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to you mentioning that aggressive marketing is going to be not your primary concern at this point, and speaking of cognitive capitalism, where attention is the new currency, how do you think, considering the very aggressively and fast moving digital landscape, the online digital landscape that we have, how is this going to grapple the audience's attention of such a crowded market?
You're right. So there's difference between aggressive marketing, which some of our competition is doing, because they have the right kind of budgets to do it. And then there is selective marketing, where you, through predictive models, can craft specific strategies based on specific channels for specific segments of audiences that you want to target.
Good.
And where you can actually model the expected outcome. You can see what you can achieve over the months if you keep doing whatever you have planned to do. And we follow the latter strategy. We ensure that we have the right kind of offer for a small segment through the right kind of medium. And even if we hit the audience fewer times, but the conversions can be seen on the platform, I think that's all that we are for.
Right.
Especially in the four-wheeler category.
That's interesting.
We are not right now in that, in that desperation of doing everything and anything to bring in customers. We just want sticky users who could stay with us because of the experience and would not just, switch homes because of incentives.
So that means that when it comes to speaking of digital touch points on applications, like app notifications, messages, prompts, social media updates, what do you think has been up till now the most effective touch point in converting this fleeting attention into actual rights? Because this is also, one of the key pointers.
Absolutely.
What are you basically thinking that, okay, fine, if I'm going to, for the time being, stray from conventional or active marketing, because we don't have that kind of a appetite or capacity, then the selective marketing ambit that you spoke of would focus on what exactly in order to convert that very fidgety attention into actual rights?
So it's a mix of a few things. It's not just one straightforward strategy. Starting from the product that we have.
Right.
So one of our biggest objectives, one of our goals that we worked on in the entire year last year was to ensure that our experience within the app becomes more efficient, becomes more easier, becomes more modern and trendy, so users actually like to stay on the platform. And keeping that in mind, we actually transitioned and transformed the entire customer app into a new app quite recently. So all of that product development and the product journey has been evolved, keeping that goal in mind.
Right.
That's one part. Then there are different segments which need different kind of push to be able to come onto the platform and interact with us. And by interaction, I mean rights. So we have a core business, which is our bike business, and this is one of our biggest
cash cows.
Cash cows, yes. This is our biggest business that we have. And for this segment, we have been only focusing on keeping the top funnel full.
Okay.
That is our biggest strategies. We know that there will be leaks. We know that there will be gaps within the funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, a lot of that. But all of that would be solved through product efficiency.
Right.
From a marketing perspective, we focus on keeping the top funnel full.
Okay.
That's one strategy for bike business. For the newer lines that we have, we focus on not just the top funnel, but we also from a marketing perspective, we also focus on the experience that happens within the funnel.
Yes.
And for that, we not just do customer acquisition or customer interventions, but we also ensure that we have the right kind of driver partners and supply to match up for that need. And it goes hand in hand. So
Right.
it's not one or the other, it is always together.
Right.
And we keep plans and strategies and budgets for both of the lines whenever we plan for new
Right.
businesses.
It's very important for any, again, I would mention, because it is that a homegrown establishment that has now picked up the pace and now moving into a very fresh segment, taking up all the challenges and being very courageous doing so. There is a balance that one needs to strike. Understanding that our product and service apparently is relying a lot on short-term engagements, you know. So, and these tactics, these gimmicks are primarily like flash promotions and all of that. How do you, being the head of growth and strategy, look at balancing these short-term engagements with actual long-term loyalty?
So there are two perspectives to it. One that I personally, on an individual level, believe in, and that is keeping the long-term brand building first and making that the priority. That's my individualistic approach, because I believe that if you have the long term figured out, the rest of it will follow. But then when you come into a business like Bykea, where every day and every hour of the business matters, and literally small changes in the externalities can influence your business quite a bit. There is short-term tactic. There's need for short-term tactics as well.
Right.
So, I believe to conclude this particular question, we feel that there are certain business segments which would only push through when you have these short-term interventions pushed with them. But then there are your power users sort segments who you need to build the brand integrity with. And that's how we have been operating.
Right.
We have been very clear that the short term and the long term is need based.
Yeah.
So that's how the operations have been so far.
So, trying to decode the consumer psychology in the digital landscape, and I very rightfully mentioned that all these strategies at times, you have to think of short term because that is what the reliance apparently is on, right?
Yeah.
But then in the due course of that, we have to think of loyalties also. And then stepping into a market which is extremely diverse. So when we speak of consumer psychology in the digital landscape, we also know that this consumer and their reliance on the digital medium it's very diversified.
Yeah.
There's a lot of consumer diversity which you have to kind of delve into. So when it comes to these cultural nuances, regional nuances, languages gaps, whenever you are designing Bykea's ad copy, what crafts are these nuances kept in mind? Is this consumer diversification, this regional nuances, cultural nuances kept in consideration while crafting an advert, a Bikea's advert, or any promotional gig that you are into?
Absolutely. I believe that
The optics
goes
particular,
without
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
right? It's the need of any business. And specifically with Bykea, we have been for the longest, and we still are, a middle class brand.
Mm.
And considering that the business still is very bike focused, um, there is a portion of the audience which interacts with Bykea which prefers Urdu language. So for that segment, everything goes in actual written Urdu, whether it goes through the app, whether it's an intervention that we go through that goes through digital channels, or it's out of home. For that particular segment, it goes in the right language that this particular segment expects from us. I don't know if you're aware of it, but for our driver partner group, Bykea was the only ride-hailing app that offered the first Urdu language
option.
platform. And we have been only Urdu for the longest. We have actually recently launched an English version of our driver partner app.
Okay.
Because the segment was so focused on Urdu, and that made more sense.
Yeah.
And I believe that was one of the factors that gave us the edge over other international brands
Right.
that came with English, interfaces, and it was challenging for users to, early use it at least to get into that.
Was there any other? Because that's I just wanted to know as an example. Was there any other campaign? Was there any other strategy that was used that where a message was actually crafted depending on the segment, nature and the cultural aspects, linguistic aspects, which actually because you have been studying the trajectory, the performance trajectory, which actually gave a boost to the performance? Any particular campaign, any strategy that you recently integrated that?
So one of the things, I'm not sure if that's going to answer your question, but that's very, very relevant for us.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that we wanted to solve over the years was to expand our driver partner community.
Right.
And we had been doing it through online marketing. We had been doing it through the offline channels that we had. But one of the things that clicked, and it is related to narrative crafting and how we curated that for our campaigns, was targeting the part-timers.
Okay.
And ensuring that the language, the visuals, the touch points that we use would only go to working professionals. I'm not going to give you exact word-on-word CTAs, but one of the CTAs, which was actually specifically in Roman Urdu and Urdu, was used to target these working professionals and to onboard these as our driver partners. And that has been one of the key CTAs that has been successful so far.
Right.
And it's working for us for more than a year now.
Great.
And I feel that's like part of what you're selling. You have to understand what would work best with the audience, whether it's language, whether it's the visual, and of course you need to be careful of who you are talking to. You cannot, unfortunately, because of some cultural limitations, there's a certain way of showcasing your female consumers, for example. And recently, in fact, we did an out-of-home, and it was a very straightforward kind of out-of-home for our four-wheelers, where we showed a female customer in a car. Very common.
Yes.
Very common way of showing your
Yes.
user. Nothing objectionable about it, but we still got some feedback that Bykea is also now using female faces to acquire new users. So this particular local
Mindset.
mindset is very, very tricky. You don't know what does not play with the group.
Right, right.
Although I think it's part of learning for the brands, and it's not that that particular campaign didn't work. It actually helped us grow 3 times in 3 months. So we were really happy with that.
When Bykea was introduced, I would just like to, just dive a little deeper into the branding title, the brand in itself, because it was an introduction with the two-wheelers only when it started off. Are there any plans to now introduce the new segment with a new name?
Some of the options were on the table.
Yeah, apparently four-wheeler is not catching up with the...
I think that was a suggestion and advice that came to the founders and to the management through some consultants and over the years when we had conversations externally. But honestly, Bykea has been turned into a verb now. People use it as a verb.
As a verb.
And we don't want to, miss out on that advantage that we have.
Oh, you can buy Kia,
हाँ, मैं आपको Bykea करा देता हूँ, या मुझे Bykea करा दो. It's a very common way of, communicating. And we want to take advantage of it. And I would say that we have no plans of, moving into any other names for now.
Right. When you talk about, because we have spoken about the cultural nuances, speaking of behavioral insights, when we talk about the booking patterns, when we talk about the app analytics, do they give you enough insight to kind of like shape the next marketing strategy?
Absolutely.
Behavior, and how do you study that?
Absolutely. So we are very...
Something that is very surprising to you about the Pakistani market or Pakistani users per se, that you would go like that, oh, this is very different about this segment of the audience.
I think our business is very need-based. Bykea's business, especially the commuting part of it, the mobility service that we have, it's very need-based. So there's no surprising insights.
Okay.
So there's a certain trend.
Yes, right.
There's a certain level of churn, that there's a certain level of frequency. But whether the data shows that or not, absolutely. And we can look at our customers' behavior like minute by minute. That's how we look at the data.
Right.
We have scorecards and reports that give us minute by minute or hour by hour, however we like, reports. And of course, that does influence our strategy, that does influence our way of communicating with certain segments based on their behavior, and give them the right kind of offers. So just to give you a basic example, there are certain users who would come onto the app, look at the fare, and would not book the ride.
Okay.
We can see that. And the next time they would come in, we would give them a lower fare.
Right.
So if fare is an issue, and they're, seeing it on multiple platforms, comparing fares,
they would accept the prompt.
They would accept the prompt and they would book the ride.
Right.
So these kind of interventions are actually very, very common. And I'm sure it's not just Bykea, it's all of these platforms. We get very good behavioral data to track.
When it comes to, I think because data tracking is, like you mentioned earlier also, and analytics play a huge role. And similarly, when it comes to privacy and algorithms, these algorithmic feeds are evolving with time. And now, since we are speaking of the attention economy, how do you think that Bykea is going to adapt to this attention economy in order to stay relevant and respectful to its users' trust?
So, honestly, first thing first, the general third-party tools that we or any platform use, they have set certain protocols around privacy and security.
Right.
So there are certain guidelines that that the brands cannot cross around privacy.
Mm.
And then whatever information that we collect and we look at to analyze the behavior or to understand the journeys better, we have ensured that we get clear permissions for that.
Okay.
And users have the right to opt out of any of those permissions any time of their usage. And just for the audience's sake, it's actually not a privacy concern. It is actually the data tracking that services like Bykea do. It's actually to understand where the service is not enough for the user.
Okay.
Where are the gaps? It's only to track the leaks, the gaps, the bad experiences, and how we can improve those leaks and gaps and bad experiences. So it's not that I'm gonna go and check what Adeela is doing today. None of our concern.
Okay.
Where does she live? None of our concern. We're not gonna be interested in her personal details or her personal geographic vicinities. None of our concern.
Okay.
It's just what she does on the platform, and if she feels that this platform is not giving me what I expect. That's the learning we take from the data that we collect, and it's holistic. It's not individualistic. It's not Adeela is doing this today. I'm gonna offer her a discount. It's for the segment. X number of users came onto the platform, couldn't book the ride. Maybe the fare was the issue. We need to strategize pricing better.
Right.
So it's that kind of learning through data.
But it's enough to say that the data that is going to be eventually stored will have its own security codes plugged in, like
Absolutely.
it's not going to it's going to be classified, as I say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not tied to a user. It's a piece of information to understand if the business is running smoothly.
Right.
And all of the individual specific information, nobody has access to. It's very limited, it's very confidential, and even within the organization, there's only certain databases that maintain that particular private information,
Right.
which nobody gets access to.
Right.
And it's, in most cases, not really any use to it, except to identify the individual. So we know that this is the kind of user interacting with us. Yeah.
So when it comes to understanding now the emerging trends in Pakistan, whether it comes to new social media platforms and very active platforms and new payment methodologies, right? What are you going to be most excited about when it comes to leveraging Bykea for considering its continued, consistent growth? Anything which is underway, which you would like to share?
One of the things that we really are excited about, although it's not like it hasn't been done before, but the vision for Bykea at the founders level is to become that name in the mobility industry and become the verb in the mobility industry that whenever somebody has a mobility requirement, Bykea becomes the name for it.
Right.
And in that direction, we are venturing into some corporate solutions that we have put together. One of which is our monthly carpool service, which gives really, really cost-efficient offerings to consumers, and it has a safety advantage to it as well. So that's one part, and then there is another thing that we are exploring, which is city-to-city movement. That's also a very exciting venture that we are going to experiment.
That sounds exciting also, yeah.
On the marketing front, we are very, very interested in exploring generative AI and letting generative AI take the lead in communications more.
Okay.
So the resources that we have in house would focus more on the data
Right.
and would focus more on the strategy.
And very rightfully so.
Rightfully so,
Yeah.
because it's giving us the right kind of efficiency. Although
Right.
it is still has to evolve the tools, the generative AI tools as well. But building that appetite is something that we have already taken up, and we would want to incorporate that in most of our communications, hopefully.
So when it comes to, I think, Saba, because when you're speaking and when you're laying things out, it comes from a very multifaceted approach towards marketing, towards looking at your industry in particular. And now having such a rich experience that you have been carrying when it comes to development sector communication roles, where your association was with NGOs like Idara Talim o Agahi and then USAID, and then corporate roles with Shan Foods and then Easy Pesa. How has the marketeer in you, or the marketing strategies that you have, or how the marketing gumption and appetite over the years has now crafted its way into this fast-moving ride-hailing startup that you now are the face of?
Very interesting question. It is very, very interesting, actually. I think one of the things that I've taken from my years in the professional world is to learn to simplify. We have been.
It's a very good term. Yeah.
We have been so focused on
complicating
things and complicating processes and complicating communications. That we kind of lose our purpose. And one of the opportunities that I'm getting here with the confidence from my management is actually exploring simplification of things, which has been helpful, which has kind of made our operational processes efficient. Although we don't mean simplification means not attention to detail. That of course
doesn't mean that.
Doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
So you stay as detailed as you can, but in communications specifically, simpler works better. That's the learning that I've brought here.
No, I think this is excellent because it is going to give a lot of insight to all the marketeers out there. Because we think, and they personally perceive this entire field to be
it's so complicated.
Yes, complicated, so layered, so overwhelmingly creative in order for you to create a dent somewhere. That is what it has to be. For a student, a business student, or a young graduate, or even a fresh professional listening to you right now, what do you think are the essential competencies and traits that a marketeer who is responsible for shaping the growth or churning the growth for any brand or service out there should focus on instilling in themselves? What competencies, what a skill set in the early stages of their academic life they should inculcate or adapt to or comply with or learn in order to kind of just have that one slight competitive edge over any other marketeer?
I believe I would kind of take points from our conversation today, and we have kind of touched upon most of these elements that I'm going to mention. But first thing first, for anybody who's interested in marketing, one of the things, and this is something I learned not as a marketer, but while I was growing as a communications resource, that it is essential to understand the audiences or the problem first. before you do anything. That's one of the key factors that can give you the edge over others. If you understand the problem better, only then you'll be able to think of a unique solution around it. And if you're able to understand the audience better, only then you'll be able to think of a right curated message in the right form with the right kind of channel strategy and frequency strategy or whatever technical elements that come into play, only when you understand the audiences better.
Right.
So first thing that I feel is most important is to try and become a student in this field, and do not come with that mind that I know better because I've studied it, or I know better because I have 12 years of experience. With every challenge, with every problem, with every segment, there's new learning. So understand your audience, understand the problem better, and then when we look at certain ideas or certain challenges, personally, what I've started doing in my professional life is to look at multiple angles before actually concluding a decision or making a conclusion on a specific idea. So trying to look at different angles with different perceptions, even if you have to bring in more people to give you more color, to give you more insights, do that, but build that mindset that gives you more perceptions.
Right.
So there's one way Adeela looks at this mic, and there are five other ways that five other people can look at this mic, right? Try building that mindset, because if you can build that mindset, you'll be able to understand different segments and think like that.
It can never be, I think it can never be a one-directional approach
Absolutely.
or perspective when it comes to a marketeer.
Absolutely.
It can never be that.
Absolutely.
During it's very interesting, and I really hope that we had more time to kind of delve into this conversation. When it comes to your early years, you have beautifully balanced project and program management with communications. And it is so essential for a business graduate and professional of today to understand business ethics. How do you, if I may ask, integrate program or project execution discipline while designing the bigger picture projects for Bykea when it comes to its brand campaigns, let's say?
I think with program or project management, you actually go through that on ground hustle, and you actually get the friction, and you get to experience the first hand challenges in execution of things, which builds your ability to persevere. Right. And your ability to look beyond certain challenges and move forward. But I feel that that's needed, and it has helped me ensure that what the top in the business boardroom sees potential in, whether that has the real on-ground potential as well or not. So ensuring that your strategy makes sense to the executors. That kind of a balance and mix is something this particular project management and communication experience has kind of given me.
And when it comes to us understanding, because we were diving deeper into Bykea's social footprints in Pakistan also, when it comes to now infusing CSR related initiatives Um, is it essential for marketing to have that kind of a corporate social responsibility attached to, if not all, but at least some strategies, or this ecosystem should have that ingrained because it does have a social impact?
Yeah.
And if so, then what is Bykea doing in that capacity?
So again, there's an individualistic interest and passion, and I absolutely see the need for any individual, all businesses to have some conscious and deliberate planning around social responsibility and what they contribute to the society. I feel that that's absolutely needed. Like this should be part of business.
Yeah. Profitability with social good.
Profitability with social growth and social intervention, and in being conscious about what you contribute to the society. Having said that, every business has its limitations. Bykea, over the years, one of our biggest strategies and one of our focus has been to ensure our driver partner community, considering some of that segment had been the full-timers, and those full-timers could only come to platforms like Bykea because there were no other employment opportunities for those full-timers. So our corporate responsibility interventions have mostly been focused on them.
Right.
And ensuring that they get the right kind of economics on the platform, that they're financially sorted for their families.
Right.
Having said that, we have been partnering with Selani, we have been partnering with Al Khidmat, and these partnerships were mainly to help communities that they interact with the right kind of opportunities that Bykea kind of platforms can offer to those communities.
Okay.
So building that bridge between the communities and the platforms is what our way of contributing to the society has been. But of course, there's so much more that we can do.
Yes.
There's so much more. I personally have been very strongly associated with education development, and some of my professional years have been there.
Lovely.
So personally, I feel one of the best ways to contribute to the society is to ensure that you give the right kind of education to the younger generation and help them understand the evolution of market and where the future is going. I feel that's very, very needed. And if I get the opportunities, I would definitely explore those partnerships.
I think thank you. And we are grateful to have you over, because I think when you have people coming in from the market, speak on the core dogmas of marketing, especially when it comes to this new age and the new psychological perspective of consumers that we have to tap into now. I think it's very essential that, kind of like every marketer or every marketing enthusiast should have that kind of an expansion when it comes to their mindsets. Speaking of now you sitting at a leading position, managing, I believe, a team of quite a few marketeers, what organizational structures or processes have you found to be extremely effective when it comes to you coordinating on a cross-functional level, be it in terms of your product, be it in terms of the finances, operations, that you think students can also integrate or combine while they're doing group projects? So what has been, if I may say, Saba's team building strategy when it comes to this product and brand particularly now at this stage?
I believe one of the key learnings that I had while building my professional life and while managing teams was ensuring transparent communication. And it's not just within one specific team, it's within the organization. So ensuring that all of the stakeholders understand what they are expected to work on and how, and and eventually giving them the right data, the right resources that they can actually perform. One of the biggest challenges over the years that I felt in some of the organizations that I was associated with was some functions holding on to the information.
Okay.
You know, and that becomes a real challenge for the rest
Yes.
of the business functions, right? And I felt one of the best things about Bykea is the transparency of information sharing.
And why would, if I may know, why would somebody do that?
I think that's part of culture. That has more political reasons within the
Right.
organization than any other.
Because there's a certain level of credibility, right?
Yeah,
That you
yeah.
have when you are associated with a brand.
Absolutely, but you have no control when that happens with you, right?
Right.
So with me and with my teams, I ensure that does not happen.
And if it does, well, how do you troubleshoot if that does?
So
I'm
if-
sorry I interject.
If ideally, though, it should not. But if there are certain stakeholders that that I need to, have clear goals set with, I would talk about it.
Right.
I would ensure that we
Bring
I
it on
would
the table.
Bring it on the table, and it's mostly just internal management than anything else, or stakeholder management than anything else. But transparency of communication, right information sharing, and I'm sorry, I kind of missed the question.
No, so it was primarily in areas of team building.
Okay.
Your strategies while managing cross functionality when it comes to teams.
So one thing is definitely clear communication or transparent communication, and then we ensure that the teams do have specific goals that they meet on periodically. We don't
Okay.
just sit on the goals for months or just let them be. We actually intentionally and deliberately keep check-ins. And while those check-ins happen, we have working dashboards that we have put together, where every contributing individual would keep the updates available for the group. So, for example, if there's a certain online marketing campaign that's going on, and the rest of the team, product team, and HR team and business intelligence team would want to know what's happening, they would have a dashboard where they can see how much of the online is consuming in budgets, what kind of installs it is bringing to the table, how are those users interacting on the platform. So those dashboards really help.
Speaking of, and this catches interest not just of the team, but it helps understand, that you need to have the right kind of people for the right kind of clientele that they're dealing with. And it is very important for you to have that kind of quotient in you. Saba needs to have those traits and qualities for the market that she is studying and dealing with. And when we speak of, you identifying, particularly when it comes to identifying and prioritizing Bykea's most valuable segmentation. And that segmentation, the consumer segmentation, particularly when it comes to this region, Pakistan in particular, in areas of demographic or in areas of behavioral, which categorization, which segmentation has proven to be the most actionable in terms of you studying their behaviors, in terms of you studying their demographics, the psychographics, what has been the most actionable analytic that has turned out to be very effective and useful?
I think considering that we have
behaviors, I believe.
Of course, behaviors. And considering that such differing kind of segments exist on the platform, there's no one rule sets all kind of situation here.
Okay.
Like I said, for bike segment, we have certain power users that have a certain kind of behavior, and we can see it, we can track them, we can ensure that they stay with us. Um, and so yeah, it's not really
It's not really one.
one
Okay.
answer to it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's a blended approach that you take towards studying segmentation and analytics.
Absolutely.
Any one
Considering
particular analytics that you think that just kind of like gives you the best kind of um, insight?
So, for example, there are so many. There are some metrics that we look at on a periodic basis. That's our cost to acquisition. And there's a certain baseline that we have over the years set around it. For bike users, there's a particular baseline. But for new categories like four-wheelers, there's another baseline to the same metric. So even the cost of acquisition would change for bike user and for car user.
Right.
But most importantly, one thing that we look at and compare with cost of acquisition is the lifetime value that the customer brings for the table or
Right.
for the platform,
Right.
which is one of the key influencer that lets us decide what acquisition costs can we budget for X number of months.
Okay.
So if a user stays with Bykea for 7 months and does 100 trips, there's a certain value that customer adds to the business.
Right.
And if we invest more money in acquiring that user,
Yes.
then the lifetime value of that user,
yes,
that's a stupid
certainly.
strategy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So those, of course, if that's the question, those metrics, of course, matter. And for acquisition, these are some. Then there are retention metrics that we look at. We and that's a realization also after quite a few years. And we used to spend quite a lot on retention, but we realized that it wasn't really translating into business value. So retained user come back when they need you,
Yeah.
whether you do anything or not,
Yeah.
whether you invest on them or not. So this was a realization after years of data being studied. And that's exactly when we decided that we're going to focus on the top line instead of bottom
line. Yeah.
Mid funnel.
Yeah. And what prompted Saba this curiosity was to understand that you coming from that legacy where you have dealt with corporates, where you have dealt with FMCGs, where you have been in the fintech ambit. Now stepping into a very diverse world altogether, when it comes to a homegrown startup, the kind of insights that you have to play around with, where you have to gamble with, you have to juggle with, are quite diverse on a different level.
Yeah.
They're quite sort of laid out, I would say, a bit flustered also. So in order to just put it all and use it, make it to your best utility, to come up with the next best strategy is quite a big of a, it's a challenge.
It's a challenge for sure.
So I think very beautifully, sort of crafted that answer for the audience. Also, it's very important for marketeers to study competitors very effectively.
True.
And in a world of today where we are having a lot of active digital promotions, these competitors are having different marketing tactics, different partnerships, various loyalty programs. Loyalty programs are, just they're cherry picking now on loyalty programs. So, which particular tactic of theirs, or which particular sort of the marketing card that they play, do you study very closely for your particular brand, and have you adapted any of those strategies or gimmicks of competitors that you have really invested into and liked as well? Any particular fascination towards a competitor's strategy? And I think we live in a very collaborative world, so it won't be.
You're right.
There won't be an issue to just mention that.
It's very obvious also. It's not really a tactic. It's one of the features that was absolutely inspiring.
Oh, okay.
And it was from InDrive and the feature was the bidding feature, where they
Yes,
come to the
certainly. Oh,
market
yes.
with this uh, with this offer of, put your own bid. And people in Pakistan, of course, love
Love
to
bidding.
negotiate. So
Yeah.
that particular feature had actually broke the market, especially the car market, car ride-hailing. And that's when I believe Kareem and Uber got the biggest pushback.
Pushback, yes.
We were really inspired by it. Bykea was really, really inspired by it. And we actually adopted that strategy, and we built that feature within our platform as well. We really felt that this change of strategy and feature actually contributed positively. So yeah,
So, in order to sway now, that will be my last question. In order, understanding that now Bykea, apparently with now a new segmentation, a new category, belongs to a very diverse group of players already.
yeah,
Very active, like you mentioned, already very capital vested, so they are coming, they're global competitors as well. What would be your reliance when it comes to swaying this market or your clientele or your customers with any particular strategy, and any final piece of advice that you would like to give to the younger audience making their way to from established brands and established sectors and industries into a completely differential zone altogether, which kind of like is going to be slightly haywire in terms of coming up with different marketing sort of approaches, and yet at the same time being courageous enough to take that leap for themselves. What should a young marketeer rely on when it comes to their own faith in their potential while being invested into a probably a young, fresh, homegrown, sort of a lesser evolved brand than the rest of the market?
Lesser evolved brand is, I'm not sure.
It has evolved. It has evolved very
Yeah.
far, but it has,
But with the international exposure that
which is
the
less,
rest of the
certainly,
players have
certainly.
is of course is of course a different ball game. But the first part of the question first, which was
Swaying the
swaying the
customers.
what we would want to do, we would want to offer better ETAs, which means that we would want to make the experience better. That is something we have more control on, and that is something we have built our legacy in the bike business in. We became leaders just because we were able to offer better services, quicker, efficient, and as when you need them. And that's exactly the plan and vision for the new business lines that we have. We wouldn't want to go into bottomless pots of marketing or floods of incentivization. But we would definitely ensure that we invest in our better experience opportunities and provide good ETAs, good arrival times for the rides. And that's going to be our unique proposition for now.
Right.
And of course, for that, it's not just product, it's also ensuring that we have the right kind of supply. And one of the marketing goals is to ensure that the supply is there. So marketing would be focusing on building that driver partner segment.
Right.
The other part, how individuals can stay ahead while being local or while being with not so internationally exposed brands like Bykea, is to bring in uniqueness in their critical thinking, in their thought processes. If they could look at data, if they could look at a problem, if they can look at a certain challenge, whether it's marketing or business problem, and uh, and offer a unique idea whether to execute it or whether to communicate it or whether to solve it through processes. That is one thing that gives the edge to any individual, to any talent that's there. And I feel that is one of the biggest gaps also in the industry. The ability to critically think, and with critical thinking, I also feel, the ability to take feedback, whether it's harsh or critical, on your thoughts or your ideas is another muscle that the youngsters and the
Need to build.
professionals should build. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Saba. Just a final, I think this is the insights that you have given me, apparently, and to the audience. Not only it has been very intricate, but it has been very inspirational for now the audience to start thinking on a different dynamic of marketing also. I have never looked at marketing from this angle, to be very
Okay.
honest. So thank you so much for such fantastic inputs. One of my primary agendas, being an educationist, is to aid their vocational development. And it's very important for us to understand that yes, there is going to be a good chunk of students who would rely for vocational learning on certain brands
Yeah.
that we have, and local legends
Yeah.
like Bykea and others. What is Bykea doing in areas to assist or facilitate the youngsters when it comes to that vocational aspect? Are there any management trainee programs? Are there any internships which are actively given? And I know it might not be only in your field or might not be as per your expertise to speak on that particular area, but you must be having the right kind of knowledge as to what goes around in
Yeah.
Bykea as an organization, as now one of the leading names and brands that we have. If students are fascinated to get a bit into the learning processes of Bykea as a corporation, what is Bykea doing in areas to facilitate those enthusiasts?
And I believe that's a very, very good question. And Bykea has been very conscious in being associated with the developing minds and with the young blood that's coming into the professional
Right.
world.
Yes.
And very early on, we not only built management trainee programs, and they run every year. We also have a internship period that we open, which is coming up in summers. June, July is usually the time that we onboard interns, and we give them real, actual projects that they get business exposure for, exposure on. And we also periodically do partner with institutes with specific marketing challenges, just so the students and the young professionals who are moving into the field have that real business problem interaction before they come into the field.
Okay.
So there are some, I believe, capstone projects that you institutes
Capstone
do.
projects, yes.
We were associated with some of those projects with the IOBM,
Right.
and I'm not sure if I'm able to, if I could mention some of the names, but
Yeah.
those were done.
Right.
And we are open to collaboration conversations. If there's
Yes.
anything specific that the institute wants to explore with Bykea, we'd be happy to take up.
No, I think that would be great, and that would give a lot of courage to the students, because learning beyond classrooms is basically where the actual magic and we have been saying it since years now, that application is very different from the scriptures.
True.
And this is something that, we believe in, we have faith in. Our perspectives have been nourished over the years to understand that until and unless this kind of audience, the fresher audience, the Gen Zs that we talk of, are not going to step into the market and get certain skill sets polished or even developed, they will never be able to even identify the kind of potential that they might have to offer. So thank you so much, Saba. It has been an absolutely enriching discourse.
Thank you
I
so
think
much,
the
Adeela.
students must have thoroughly enjoyed it, taken enough notes like I did, and I would love to collaborate in future. And inshallah, Bykea is going to make its way to Denning, and Denning is going to make its way to Bykea.
Absolutely. I would look forward to our conversations after this episode. It's been a pleasure being here, Adeela. Thank you so much. You are really welcoming and accommodating. And I'm really, really inspired by your articulation.
Thank you so much.
So
Thank you. It's
amazing.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. And to all the audience, to the business enthusiasts, to those having the marketing gumption, the aptitude, the courage to take this world from a very unique perspective, I hope this discourse would have given you enough insights to carve your way moving forward as a professional in the industry. Thank you so much for being with us, and I will see you in the next episode of Career Talks. Until then, take care and make your best way, understanding that success is never going to be linear, but it's going to be very flavorsome. Thank you, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.